I was with my mentor, Joan Weinstein. I just opened up my store. I remember walking into their showroom, and it was a hole in the wall, an apartment of some sort. Joan and I walk in, and Joan stops at the door. She said, Ikram, you know that story that I've been telling you all these years about finding magnificent designers in Europe only? Well, you have just found the most exquisite thing you will ever see in New York City.
I was sent this lookbook, or I should say sketches, beautiful sketches by these two girls, Kate and Laura. And it was busy, I was busy, there was so much going on, and they kept calling and saying, hey, like, can we have an appointment with you? This is Kate and Laura from Rodarte. And I don't think I had seen the beautiful sketches as yet. And I remember saying, oh, I have to look at those sketches. And I looked at them. I was like, wow, I need to meet, like, who are you? I need to meet you.
Well, you know when you meet certain people and they have a kind of, like there's an energy or magnetism? I mean, they obviously have it in a way that was so unconventional, like totally related to their spirit. And they super smart, and we just had these great, crazy conversations, and they had a dream and a very consistent point of view.
They were looking for a photographer. No one had seen their clothes, and someone who knew me introduced them. And basically what happened was that I didn't know anything about them, and no one had seen their clothes. So they came in over to my house, and I said, you know, bring a couple pieces and let's talk about what you want to do. And so they came in with no clothes, just one drawing and a little swatch of fabric. And after 5 minutes of hearing them talking, I was like, okay, well, I'm in.
I didn't even know tights could be anything other than just like a solid fabric. And I believe I wrote a post about them on my blog, just fanning out. And then I got an email from them, which I at first was like, surely this is fake. And then I found out it was because Miranda July had read my blog and had sent them my post.
I said, you should gotta send her those tights, you know? I mean, she's so incredible. And I think they did.
There's always something to learn with Kate and Laura. They keep it fresh, they keep it exciting, they keep you also guessing.
Do you worry about them when you introduce them to the rest of the world? Yeah, you worry about them, as you said, you know, I'm like the godmother.
I feel very lucky to have just been thrown into their path.
I think we work together since at least 10 years. But it's always an adventure. It's why it's nice.
It's really exciting. I think what Kate and Laura have brought to Fashion Week is this pure creativity.
I think it's also a lot about community. It's a different feeling than a typical fashion show during New York Fashion Week.
You know, there I was in New York Fashion Week, backstage at a major show, and I just couldn't even believe it that I was, you know, having this experience. And to be part of it, like an integral part of it, was just it was phenomenal. I just, you know, I get a little emotional thinking about it.
The first time I met Laura and Kate, they were like, how are you? How's it going? You need anything? Seeing them again in New York for Fashion Week, it was just like, it's a war. She's our friend.
Them just buzzing around like bees on set, you know, getting everything together was just really beautiful to see them so close to their work and so close to their designs and still, you know, thinking and being creative and making changes.
I had a dream the night before the test about these sort of cocktail-like floating eyeballs on the lid. And I came in, but with eyeliner, and I came in and they had this very like graphic eyeliner inspiration that they were showing me. And I was like, it's so weird, I had this dream that's like kind of a mix of that and of this like cocktail thing. And they were like, well, let's try it. And I just don't work like that with anyone else. I don't think I've ever worked like that with anyone else. They offer me this entranceway into like a part of my creativity that usually I would say lays dormant.
They are just pure imagination. and incredibly uncynical. And I think what I thought of when I first saw one of their shows, and what I think about now is the sort of designers that make you feel like you're 8. You know, when you're like, oh, it's so pretty.
What actually I love about them, and I've always told them, they are the designers and the talents that I think can make ugly become beautiful better than anyone else on earth.
The magic that they managed to achieve between their incredible dresses, gowns, and style and excess of coolness.
I saw the film Black Swan. Seeing that film and knowing that the sisters were behind the costume design speaks volumes.
I think the feeling of wearing Rodarte is indescribable. It just makes you feel so confident and free. And there's this distinctive uniqueness to the way that they make their clothes, where you feel like you are wearing one of a kind.
I remember seeing how they worked together and how their synergy was. And it reminded us so much of Hallie and I. It was just so fascinating and wonderful to see 2 successful women who are sisters and how they work and how, you know, they maneuver through the creative process.
When you're wearing it, it's like you're powerful and you feel beautiful.
While I was in the dressing room, I was thinking, my God, they're referencing so much here. They're referencing California, they're referencing the silver screen, they're referencing the 40s, the 30s. And then I walked out of the dressing room and I said to them, it fits. And they were just ready to fall down, and so was I.
I feel like, you know, that they're so special in the world, in my world, and in the world in general. Just to have people like them, designers like them, is just necessary.
They were so beautiful and they're so smart, but they're just also so nice. And I think when you're young and you're interested in fashion, it's super intimidating. And they sort of visually were everything that is so aspirational about the industry, but then they're just so kind.
And I just thought they were such a remarkable duo of creative women.
It's hard not to be completely charmed by them.
And so I think one of my favorite memories was that we were in this tiny hotel room and I was sleeping at the foot of the bed on a cot. You know, Kate and Laura were sharing a bed. I think they would split sandwiches because they didn't have any money. I'm sure I was ordering French fries because that's all I could afford. And then all the dresses were hung on. We weren't allowed to close the door when we went to the bathroom because there weren't enough tall places to hang the dresses. So the one of the dresses that's in the permanent collection at the Met, I remember it hanging on the bathroom door and all of us sort of holding our breath when we went to the bathroom, meaning Kate, Laura, and I, because we were just, all 3 of us panicked that, you know, one of us would be the one that dropped the dress.
One time we were in New York and they were doing the fashion show outside in a cemetery, and it was pouring rain.
And that, you know, of course, is usually a hair and makeup nightmare, a clothing nightmare. But it was so beautiful because then the girls started lining up and they each had an individual bodyguard umbrella holder.
I literally remember there was no panic at all. And now I understand, because as the girls, they work a lot in movies, they were even happy because they knew already that the effect of the rain on the stage, it was like an amazing effect.
Even though they were getting completely drenched at the same time, because the pieces were so beautiful, the girls were so beautiful, the setting was so beautiful. It felt like if you weren't there, you weren't, why were you even in this business? Like, that was the whole point.
Whenever I'm sitting like in an audience of theirs at a show, it always seems like a complete miracle. Like, I know, of course, they've done this a million times in Paris and, you know, but still to me, I'm like pinching myself.
We've always made the show have a musical progression and a tension progression that would evolve in crescendo to more and more emotion. And at the end, I would always design those, what we call the Rodarte poses or finales, where the girls would either accumulate one after another, or come back and appear all together, but in a very, very kind of strong and choreographed formation that I would keep for a very long time over a musical crescendo until a maximum climax. And then I would send Kate and Laura out.
Once the music starts for the show and you exit, I really do feel transported for that time. It doesn't feel like you're just wearing clothes. It feels like you're in a story.
It was just a sense of like peaceful calmness, like, and everybody knew like they were about to do great. Like, this is gonna be a great show. Like, everyone was very excited.
We are like, okay, God, okay, it's gonna in a minute, it's gonna be in a minute. Everyone's like, ready girls, are you ready girls? Yes, we are ready, yes.
They just create a whole other world that everyone wants to be in.
How wonderful to feel like Kate and Laura have imagined a story for you. It's like each dress is a movie made for someone.
You just feel special.
It is all of the things that you want to feel as a powerful woman. You know, you want to feel the softer side of yourself. Certainly I do. But when I walk into a room, I want people to understand my power as well.
What I think is the most incredible quality about Kate and Laura is that they haven't changed from then to now. It's always been personal. It's always been about people and their connection with who's wearing their clothes. And, you know, my memories of them from back then to now are very much still the same.
Laura studied literature at Berkeley. Kate studied art history at Berkeley, and I think that like their knowledge of many things really helped with their creativity.
You hold their hands until they can walk, and obviously they walked fast down the runway. So they are your birds, and they fly, and you just pray every moment.
I'm going to be reading a short tribute that Hilton Als wrote for Kate and Laura. At a certain point, I wrote to Kate and Laura all the time. This was about a decade ago, when I was living in a very lonely place, geographically and emotionally. And my chief pleasure back then was sending them essays I liked, or images or thoughts that I believed might be pertinent to their beautiful work, which is a tribute, really, to the transformative power of the imagination. And I was always thrilled when these sisterly lovelies would write back, their exclamation points sprinkled like diamond bright snow across the pages of their news, and all the way from Southern California, where it doesn't even snow. Eventually, things changed in my life. I moved from that emotionally arid place and started traveling to Los Angeles more, but despite greater mobility, I still love writing to Kate and Laura with plans and ideas, and hearing theirs. And I am always touched by their news, the effort they make to connect with people who admire and treasure them, thereby increasing the love and the wonder we all feel in knowing them, and their vivid and true minds and hearts and imaginations.
People don't know what they want until it's presented to them. Rodarte is constantly pushing the envelope and showing a new option.
I mean, I think, you know, Rodarte is a wavelength, and you're either on it or you're not. And if you're on it, you're really on it. And, you know, there have been some critics who were not, and they're just wrong. They were just wrong.
You wish that you could be articulate enough in these moments when you're trying to describe someone or people, designers, storytellers, visionaries that you know will have an impact forever.
If you could describe Rodarte in one word, what would that be?
What was your word?
Ambitious.
Dreamy.
I would say inspiring.
Enchanted.
I would say feminine.
Poetic.
Inspirational.
Magic.
Romance.
Adorable.
Magical.
Brilliant.
Detailed.
Original.
Genius.